Perfect Hamburger, pages 12 to 15. Chapter 2. The new hamburger house opened its doors exactly 1 month later. The first day was a grand affair. To get as many people as possible to visit the shop, it was announced in the newspaper that on that day, hamburgers would be served at half price. Of course, this brought half the town out. At lunchtime, a long line of people stretched out of the shop and along the street, and again in the evening the place was packed with contented customers. Hamburger House was opened by the mayor, who made a short speech and cut a piece of tape across the door. A giant hamburger was awaiting him on the counter. There was a great popping of flashbulbs as the pressmen recorded this important event for the next day's newspapers. Everyone agreed that the new place was excellent. There were shiny black and white tiles on the floor, a big white plastic counter, and a kitchen that sparkled with new equipment. While you waited for your order, you could see the hamburgers sizzling away on the spotless cookers. Then, when your order was passed through to you, there were revolving sauce containers from which you could choose sauces of just about every colour. Joe went along out of curiosity and had to admit the hamburger he chose was one of the best he'd ever tasted. Everyone else seemed to think so too, and as he walked out he heard somebody say to a friend, "You'd have to be crazy to go to Mr. Borthwick's now." Joe had rightly guessed that Mr. Borthwick's days were numbered. That means he wasn't likely to be in business much longer. Now, even fewer people went to his place. At night, you could see a dimly lit Mr. Borthwick sitting behind the counter waiting for somebody to come in for a hamburger. But nobody did. Except Joe. Every now and then he would go down and order a hamburger. Mr. Borthwick was always glad to see Joe and took a lot of trouble with his hamburger. Then, when Joe had finished, he and Mr. Borthwick would chat about this and that and just about everything. One evening, Mr. Borthwick said to Joe, "Why not come into the kitchen and make your own hamburger? You can have this one free." Joe was delighted. He went round to the side entrance and climbed up the wooden steps that led to the kitchen door. Mr. Borthwick opened this for him and showed Joe round.